Hey Warriors, how's it going? This is Seth Kniep, Keeping It Real. Today I want to talk to you about money. Money actually can get in the way of making you money. It also can be an amazing asset and a tool to make you a lot more money. If you talk to any billionaire or millionaire, they'll tell you you need money to make money. But to get there, you have to have a right mindset. And it's actually harder to hold on to money once you have it than it is to make a lot of money. So I just want to take a few minutes to explain some of the concepts around this. When I started, I was $24,000 in debt. I was walking around with a dime and doubling it, trying to get it to $100,000. I just had to double it 20 times. And one of the concepts I ran into at the very early part of my new career as an entrepreneur, back when I worked for Apple and I wanted to leave and start something different and have freedom with my wife and my kids and my family, is that the belief that I couldn't get there was the biggest challenge. In other words, when someone says, man, I can't afford that, that's actually not true. What they're saying is, I don't believe I can afford it. Now, you might say, well, Seth, there's not enough money in my account. Look, there's $5,000 in my account, Seth. I can't afford a $6,000 used car. I understand that. But when you say I can't afford it, what you're saying is you are limited by what's in your account. You don't have the ability to put more into that account or do something different in your life to grow your account so that you have enough money. So the concept here is money is a gift, it is a tool, it is to be leveraged. But what happens is if you value money too high, it'll actually prevent you from making money. You'll end up putting it so high that it'll burn relationships with people. People are the most important asset of all the main assets. There are several main assets. There's 4. Every business has assets, and there's lots. There's a computer, there's a desk, there's an office, there's a building. Those are all assets. There's a factory, there's a truck, there's delivery trucks. But the 4 most important assets, and in order of importance, are first people, then time, then knowledge, then money. I believe people are the most wonderful thing in the world. And even though people can break your heart, and even though people are the most challenging thing in the world and unpredictable and kind of weird, my wife says I'm weird sometimes and I have to agree with her, people are the most wonderful thing in the world. And so if you understand that and you're able to balance it out, anytime you make a business decision, you're going to look at these 4 assets. You're going to say, here's people, here's time, here's knowledge, here's money. Which do I have the least of? And that's the one you're going to protect. Which do I have the most of? That's the one you're going to leverage to build a business. Let me give you an example. A long time ago, someone joined Just When I'm Coaching. As you guys know, we have the absolutely most stellar coaching membership, in my opinion, on planet Earth, helping people to build passive income. I don't say that in arrogance. I say that because it is an outflow of our lives, of what we do for ourselves and our families. And this guy approached me and he said, Seth, I really want to join your membership. I said, that's awesome. He goes, my problem is I don't have enough money. Would you be willing to let me start for free, and then later on as I make money, I can pay it back to you? And my heart really wanted to do this for him. I really wanted to, but I remember someone else telling me, Seth, if someone buys something at a discount or for a very low price, you give it to them for free, what happens often is they don't have enough skin in the game. And as a result, they don't commit deep enough to achieving their goal. They're so focused on immediate results or getting by quickly or easily that they miss the whole point. And it results in them not working as hard. And he was right. I've seen this. For those people who have invested the most in our membership, they actually make the most. And you might be thinking, well, they had more money. Not necessarily. Some of them were very poor. They went out, they got an extra job, they found a way to get more money, they invested it, and now they're crushing it on Amazon. Some of them doing several million a month in profit. Several million a month. That's more than I do. But my point is, this guy, when I was talking to him, I said, listen, I want you to think about something. I said, think about people, time, knowledge, and money. How much time do you have? And he said, I have a lot of time. I said, okay. Do you know of anyone who has a lot of money? He says, yes, I do. I said, I want you to go talk to the person and say, look, I got a lot of time. You have a lot of money. Can we make a deal where you help fund the business, but I will do the work of the business, and we can share the profits? And to this day, he lives a life of financial freedom because he made that choice. In other words, he looked at his assets and he used them wisely. He had little money, so he had to protect that. So he traded time for money so he could get more money because that's what he needed to buy his first shipment of products from China to start selling on Amazon and e-commerce. So when you make a business decision, remove this thinking from your mind, I can't afford it. That's actually not true. The only truth there is your belief is eliminating you from affording it. That's it. It's the belief. What you believe about yourself and your ability has a massive impact on your ability to succeed in life. So when you look at your money, look at it as a tool. It's a tool. And if you're always going for, I just got to get the best deal and the best discount, and I'm not against thrifting, I'm absolutely not against, liberal spending of money, throwing money at this, throwing money at that, either for image or just because someone's lazier and disciplined. That's stupidity. I'm not talking about that. I'm saying where someone focuses so much time and energy and mindset on trying to get the best deal, they actually end up undercutting their business. Let me explain. If when you approach people and you want something from them, if you often regularly ask them for a discount, what you risk doing is turning that relationship into a transactional relationship. Some of the contractors that I work with around the world, we're in 90 countries, and some of them we'll be talking about a deal or an opportunity, and I will negotiate with them sometimes, but I'm always careful not to go too far. And for those of you guys who are sourcing in China, I want you to think about this. If you go too far and negotiate too much, like this is just some big flea market, you might burn the relationship. And that factory could be the factory that could carry you to the next level because their prices are so good. They're a real factory. They're not a middleman. They're not a trading company. But you negotiated too hard on a sample, a freaking sample. And what happens, they go, my goodness, does this person do they even have the ability to run a business? Because they're always thinking about trying to save money. You have to actually become comfortable spending money as well. And let me say not spend, but investing money. If you negotiate too hard on a sample from a supplier, really become almost a jerk about it or just constantly asking for a deal, what might happen is they might sure let you have it, but they're not going to do business with you or they won't give you a very good deal on the bigger order. In fact, now in their mind, they're going to charge a little more potentially. It's better to negotiate on the big deal. In other words, spend more on a sample, spend more on your first MOQ, your first minimum order quantity, but when you order a larger order, that's where you have more leverage. And you can use that leverage to say, look, I'd like to drop it 75 cents a piece, which can save you $20,000 in large orders. That's where you want to negotiate. But if you go too far and push it too much, you will turn that relationship into what's called a transactional relationship, where people think you look at them as a means to saving money. The problem with that is that person could be the means to making a ton of money, but you just burned that bridge because you were trying to save a few bucks, but you weren't thinking about the future. You might be the poorest person on earth. And what I'm about to say, I say with respect. This is not mitigating the suffering you're going through. I used to be very poor. There was a day when I could not afford a cheeseburger for my wife. I get it. I was minus money. I was in debt. I drove a beater minivan for many years, and I drove it like a badass, my minivan. But if you're in a situation where you just have nothing, you're scraping, you may not even have a house to stay in, you might be homeless. Can I encourage you with something today? I do not blame you for your situation. Maybe it's your fault, maybe it isn't. I don't know. So what I'm about to say is not a blame. I just want to be very real with you. You don't have to stay in that situation. And you have the ability to get out of that situation. Did you know that the majority of wealthy people, millionaires and billionaires today, actually started really poor? How was it that Jack Ma, one of the richest men in the world, the owner of Alibaba, this massive money-making machine and a lot of other stuff, artificial intelligence as well, how was it that he went from a school teacher to this extremely wealthy person? How did he do that? Because what about all the other school teachers who, if you said, hey, would you like to make a lot of money? Would you like? And they're like, okay. So what made Jack Ma different? He believed he could do it and he acted on that belief. What you believe about yourself has a massive impact on your ability to succeed in life. Guys, I wrestle with this. I'm not saying I've arrived. I've grown, but when I believe that I'm not a good enough husband to my wife, it causes me to not treat her as well. When I believe that I'm not that great of a dad, I start not being that great of a dad. When I believe that I can't get stronger and bigger, I don't give it more at the gym. I'm like, oh yeah, well, I'm just going to keep fit versus, wait, give it all you got. You can go to the next level. You have to start with that belief, which means in order for there to be belief in your mind, a healthy belief, you have to remove something. And do you know what it is that you have to remove? Lies. You have to remove lies. If you are so focused on getting a deal or getting a discount or I have to save money at every single corner to a point where you start treating people and accusing them or start treating them as lower or mistreating them, what will happen is not only will it potentially burn bridges in relationships with those people you're interacting with, but you'll become obsessed about the money. It's a weird thing, but sometimes the people who are the most greedy are actually the most poor. Don't take what I said wrong. I didn't say poor people are greedy, and I didn't say rich people are greedy. There's plenty of rich greedy people and plenty of poor greedy people. What I'm saying is a lot of greedy people are poor people. And the reason they're poor is because they're greedy. Let me give you an example. They go out, they make money, and I'm speaking to you as someone who fits this profile perfectly, okay? I used to fit this profile. They go out, they make some money, and they're hungry. And so they go, let's go to eat. And they go to eat and they drop $50 on them and their wife and their kids. And they might say, oh, it was family time and I need to invest in my family and it was a good thing. And that's sort of a cover up when in reality, they're just being impulsive because Chili's looks really good on the street corner on their way home from wherever they were at. And so they go spend that money instead of eating the food at home that costs way less and taking that money and using it to buy something at a yard sale and selling that on eBay so that $50 becomes $100 the next week, $200 2 weeks after that, $700 a month after that, $7,000 a year after that. And all of a sudden they have this booming eBay business because they made a decision a long time ago that this $50 would be better spent invested than feeding my immediate desire hunger at Chili's when I could go eat something more simple at home. And that person chose to live like no one else so that later on, today now, they are living like no one else. This is the reason I started with just a dime. I knew I had to discipline my mind and my heart to learn to value money with respect. Instead of being impulsive about it, oh, give me money or give me a deal, and then spending it impulsively, I had to think, wait, I just received cash at Starbucks after I bought something. Why would I just drop this into the tray and expect to use it the next time? What if I doubled that? And even if it was just a dime sitting there in the coin tray of my car, just a dime, if I double it 20 times, this is mathematically correct, it is over $100,000. But to do that, that means when I had 10 cents and it became 20, I had to respect the 20 cents. When the 20 became 40, I had to respect the 40 cents. I couldn't say, well, I could use that to buy something. Well, you really can't buy much with 40 cents. Let's just say $1.40, okay? Or $1.60. When I got to $1.60, I could use that to buy some gum at the store. No, I don't need to do that. I don't need that gum. Let's turn that $1.60 into the next step. $3.20 and so forth. You see what happens? It was a mindset. I had to discipline myself, and every day I'd come home, I'd take that money and I would stick it in an envelope and I would write the new amount on it, and it was motivating for me. And what happened is I proved to myself this. It doesn't matter where you are. You could be totally broke. You could be at a job that pays you $100,000 a year. You could be super wealthy. You have the resources. If you take what you have, you can, my friend, you can turn that into a massive amount of income. But if instead you're always impulsive about money, or you turn human relationships into transactional relationships instead of meaningful relationships, what will happen is you're using people, you're not adding value to people. Do you know that a lot of millionaires, when they wanted to learn something, you know what they would do? Even when they were already millionaires, they would say, hey, I want to learn how to run a restaurant someday. They already have tons of money. They would go and work for 6 months at a restaurant for nothing. Now you might say, well, they had enough money, they didn't need to. Yeah, but think about it. 6 months, they're learning something just to learn, not expecting pay. And let me go back for a minute. Do you know that for months and months and months, I didn't make anything on eBay. It took me a while to get started. When we hit Amazon, it picked up faster, but I struggled a lot until we began to learn how to work that system and how to sell and why reviews matter and what not to do and what to do and how to rank for keywords. You have to be willing to add value to others and yourself for free if you want to make money. But if you're just focused on, I got to get to this number fast or I'm doomed, that is a short-term mentality. You'll give up, you'll get discouraged. In fact, if you're all about the money, you won't make as much money. People who are really obsessed about money tend to not make as much money, with the exception of Kevin O'Leary. Because what happens is you're so focused on getting the money that you're not enjoying the process. And when something happens, like a supplier messes up your order, or Amazon lets a negative review from a competitor hit your listing, you can't get rid of it, or your website doesn't rank as well because you're ranking for the wrong keywords when you're running your Google ads, you'll get discouraged because those things don't pay you money. They take money. They make your wallet thinner. And in that moment, you realize, man, what am I in this for? I just want to make money. Okay, forget it. I can't do it. It's not for me. Or you blame someone else. What you want to do instead, you guys, is in that moment, enjoy the process. Treat yourself with enough respect to say, I'm learning, I'm growing. This is valuable knowledge I will use years from now. It doesn't mean I have to have a fast path to income. I do not believe, you guys, that there's any fast path to cash, even in inheritance or winning the lottery or sweepstakes, because a lot of those people end up spending all the money within a year. The majority of them do. The facts state it. It would be better to say, look, I'm going to respect myself enough to train myself. I will work somewhere for free. And if I can't fund that, I will go drive for Uber till 2 in the morning to fund that. That's what I did. It was more like 3 or 4 in the morning. And day after day after day, you're over here hustling to supply food for you and your wife and your kids and your husband and whoever you're supporting. While over here, you're getting knowledge for free. Check out Rich Dad Poor Dad. He talks about this, how he paid them peanuts, almost nothing, so they would learn to value knowledge more. Wait, where's my check? I want my money. No, that is not the mentality of an entrepreneur. That is not how you build wealth. You want to make money? Then bring its respect it. Don't worship it, respect it. Bring the value down to here in your mind. Raise the value of people. And another one, raise the value of time, because you'll never get a refund on time. The seconds I've spent recording this video for you, spending this time with you today, I'll never get them back. But it's worth it to me because I enjoy it. Whether or not this makes me money, I enjoy it for its own sake. I like it. You see what I mean? That's what being an entrepreneur is. You actually enjoy the process. It's a part of your life. It's an expression of who you are. It's a journey and it's never ending. I tell you, I thank God every day for this. Entrepreneurialism has helped my marriage in so many ways. I'm not saying it's the end-all, fix-all, but it really has done something. It's given me a mission, something to focus on. So instead of living this codependent life where I'm leaning on my wife to make me happy and she's leaning on me to make her happy, we have a mission to fulfill. We have purpose. We have an adventure together, and we get to learn as we go. And I'm telling you guys, there's nothing that compares to the joy that brings. But as a result, as a byproduct, because we chose to add tons of value to Amazon customers, to eBay customers, to Instagram customers, to WordPress customers, to Shopify customers, to coaching customers, all these different people, to tenant customers for real estate, because we chose and said, you know what? I don't care how long it takes. I'm going to start adding value to people. I'm going to add value, add. And at some point, I know the money will come. The byproduct of the money has literally made us millions. And I don't say that as some special person or an arrogance. I say that to you to help you. This kind of mindset is how you become an entrepreneur. You will live a life so much more full of freedom, and you won't risk burning bridges with people who could help you just so you could save a few bucks. You guys, I hope this is super encouraging to you, and I wish you an awesome day. Get out there and crush it. Oh, and if this is helpful to you, please subscribe below. Click the little bell so every time we come out with a new YouTube video, you'll be notified. Talk to you later. Bye.